Well, I want to say thank you so much that you've been enjoying your week and for joining us here today. We're going to talk all about Microsoft Word and Office 365. My name's Scott Shapiro. I run the Word product marketing space, and I'm joined here by Michelle Keslin, our senior program manager from the engineering side of the house. So there's one thing I want to call out in advance of this session and get a quick pulse check here. Word's been around for a while. We know this. A lot of you are thinking to yourselves, I'm sure at some level, I probably know everything about Word. Did I make the right choice coming here again? Or I wanted an easy session where I'm not going to be pushed. Well, if you're asking yourselves that, the answer to that question is you made the right choice. With Word, we've been trying to work in two big themes, and we'll be going through that together. But we want to challenge you to say to yourselves a little bit, there's a lot of ways I can use this product. To be using the product in a new way takes us innovating in familiar spaces, educating you on areas that you're comfortable with. But it probably also means helping you to think about using this product in a way you never could have in the past. So now let's do something kind of fun. Raise your hand for me if you're using Word on Pro Plus today. It's a pretty good chunk of the audience. Who's got 2016 perpetual? Still good. 2013. Few. 2010? If I say 2007, am I going to get upset? That's okay. We're all here. We're all friends. All right, so what about who was using Word back in 2003? Everyone. 2000? I don't think we're going to run this all the way out, but if anyone's been using it since the 80s, I'm very proud of you. And I'm excited that you cared enough to join us here today in our session. So with that fun, let's dive in together. Well, what are we going to talk about? We're going to start with Microsoft 365, and then how Word can help move you forwards and really take advantage of the great platform we've been building. And then second, we're actually going to go straight to the demo from there. With a product like Word, like we've been talking about here, you're pretty familiar with the experience, and hopefully you're having fun talking to me and seeing what's going on, but I would way rather put Michelle in front of you guys as our engineer to really say, like, what have we built? Is this guy telling the truth when he's saying there's some cool new things out there? So we're going to go to the demo, and then at the very end, I'm really hoping you're going to feel excited about what you saw, and your question to yourself is going to be, how do I get this now? When do I make the move to Pro Plus so I have access to this for me and my users? How's that sound? All right. So Microsoft 365. I'm going to take you on a quick little journey of what's probably been happening to yourselves as IT, or maybe some folks in more of the business decision space. You would think to yourself, what version of Office do I want to get on? What about Windows? How am I going to stay secure for my enterprise and mobility solutions? And you would have to talk to a different person from Microsoft each time, reevaluate that process over and over again. And then, if we were lucky enough to earn your business and earn your trust, you'd have to decide, how do I deploy this 3 separate times? That's not fun. We know that. We have so many great offerings, and it feels complex when you have to make those choices over and over again. So we've actually brought together the best of Office 365, Windows 10, and our enterprise, mobility, and security solutions into one experience that we call Microsoft 365. It's a complete platform that lets you make that choice just once, that lets you deploy all around the same time to create a modern device and a modern network to empower you and your users. So let's take a look together through the 4 big areas we think about when we say to you, Microsoft 365 is what you're going to need to feel ready to conquer the challenge, get after that day for you and your employees. So what's it mean to be creative these days? Does it mean painting with a paintbrush? For some of us, yeah. Does it mean creating a chart in Excel to find your next insight? That's another way to be creative. For me, it's a lot of putting together PowerPoints and walking around on this stage and talking to you. But what I'm trying to say is everyone has a different approach to creativity. But with Microsoft 365, whatever you need, it helps you to really amplify that talent while saving you time to get to the message you want to land instead of worrying about how do I make that perfect slide? How do I find that insight in that chart in Excel faster? In Word, how do I put together that beautiful document that people are going to read, get to the right part of that content right away? Let's talk about teamwork for a second here. Do we have folks that are using Teams yet? It's a good amount of hands. That makes me excited. Probably some folks using groups, using Yammer. Outlook is, of course, a way that we consider ourselves on a team. Well, research has shown us that in the past 5 years alone, people say they're on 2 times as many teams as they've ever been before. So that means you need all different ways to work together, whether you're starting on your laptop, you're at a conference like this and somebody's shooting you a message, and as much fun as you want to be having in these sessions, you got to answer that urgent fire drill in your pocket on your phone, working together in new ways. The next big bucket is around integrations. We were saying a moment ago, we have all these different solutions and approaches in your ecosystem. Windows 10, Office 365, and all these other products and platforms and security benefits that we're hoping to bring to your needs. Well, how do you actually deploy those together? How do we make sure it's simple for you to test out with a small set of your users to say, are these products going to work? When I upgrade at this cadence, which we're hoping, fingers crossed, is once a month for a lot of you, but we respect that some of you like to take your time, and that's okay. We're here right there with you. We do a ton of the testing, and we respect you want to do the same as well. But we're trying to make it simple as part of a platform experience. And then finally, intelligent security. Just in the news recently was the Equifax leaks. Tons of people's data was corrupted and lost. It was found by the wrong people, you could even say, in some levels. But with AI intelligence built into our M365 platform, we're there with you. You're in charge of what types of controls are set up, but AI is actually going to be helping you to make decisions faster than you might have thought was possible. If this was a perpetual model, you'd be a bit stuck in one place. We'd have your back. We always give you security patches, of course, but there's sometimes where we're reactive compared to proactive. And when you're with M365, we help you in your business to be proactive and make sure that those types of errors don't impact your business. We keep you safe. So that's the M365 platform. But what we're really here to talk to you about today is Microsoft 365, powered by Word, and creativity and teamwork. Do these features look familiar? Some of these words are probably ones you've seen before. Some are a little fresher to you. So I want to hit through these together, tell you a bit about what's exciting for you and your users, and then I'm going to get the heck out of the way and let Michelle bring this all to life for you. So unlocking creativity. What was I saying before? It's not a paintbrush only. Maybe it's a data type in Excel. Maybe it's writing handwritten notes inside of that Word document somebody sends to you when you're working together. Well, now we're bringing a lot of that physical analog experience into the digital. So Ink Editor is an experience in creativity that really excites me. I used to be one of those people that printed out every single Word document. I'd write in the margins, and then I'd have to go back and type it into my notebook, or I'd type it into my Word document. It was slowing me down. I couldn't really work the way that I wanted to. But with things like Ink Editor, you can actually just grab a stylus, or if you don't use that, just use your finger to draw on the screen and start highlighting different content. You can actually just swipe out full paragraphs at a time and start making edits just like that. In the future, you're going to be able to actually write in full sentences, drop it straight in there to really give you more control. Some people think better with a stylus in their hand. Other people think better by typing. So that's an example how we're bringing a new experience into Word. If we hop down to the middle, we'll talk about Editor for a second. So we all acknowledge we've been using Word for a long time, and that's cool. That means we know the ins and outs. So we know our favorite experiences. So when we hear some of these newer things, we might say, that's cool, but that one's not for me. But if you want to stay in your lane and keep using things the way you always have, that's cool. We're just going to actually make them better without you having to worry about learning anything new. So with things like Editor, we're actually bringing in different natural language processing to help you out with spell check, grammar, and then kick it up a notch. With our new experience, it actually with a set of different critiques can help you to be a better writer. You're in control of different styles. You think back maybe to school, a teacher might say to you, hey, don't use the passive voice so much. And you're kind of like, okay, I don't even know what the passive voice is sometimes. But I hear you telling me not to do it. Word's going to be able to, and has been able to now as we've been rolling this product out, give you those pieces of advice, help you to be a better writer, and then hopefully you put our feature out of business, and you start feeling comfortable in the way you want to. But you're always in control. You choose which critiques we give you. As a person from the Northwest, I'm passive aggressive, and that's how I'm going to be for a long time. So I always turn that critique off. But my parents, they're from New York. They love that one. They feel more aggressive in a positive sense. They feel coached through it. The next thing in that creativity world is they're all around 3D models. We probably put in some charts before, maybe some basic static images. But what happens when you want to start putting in an entire set of an image? You want to see not just the front of that heart if you're in the medical space, but you want them to be able to see underneath it, behind it, and really get a full view of that figure right alongside the content you wrote out, explaining the next way you're going to maybe approach that medical breakthrough. And you can do that now. And then the bottom two in creativity are super important to us. This is how we're approaching accessibility. Our CEO, Satya, has preached to us, and we fully believe in, accessibility, it's not a bolt-on. Accessibility is all about helping different types of people with different types of needs use the product in however way they need it to. Now, if we went through that mantra and we said accessibility is a bolt-on, if we're going to build in things for people that have visual impairments and it's specific just to them, well, what can that do? That can actually alienate a person. That can make an individual uncomfortable and unable to really raise their hand and say to their IT department, I need your help. Research has shown that about 1 in 5 people in the professional workforce actually has some type of learning difference or visual impairment. So that means there's plenty of people in this audience here that have different types of needs. I myself, I have ADHD. That's not something I like always talking to my boss. It means I need a few different things here and there. I need a little extra time. And it's okay if you don't want to talk about that with your IT department. But when we build things in, and accessibility is a part of the product, that means a person gets to benefit from it without even having to ask. They don't have to worry about, how do I get this product? You as the IT folks, you don't have to worry about, I have to maintain another product in any way. It's just a part of the experience. And the really cool thing there is, it actually also will benefit a lot of folks that might not have reading disabilities or dyslexia or dysgraphia. And suddenly that same experience that helps out one person because they have dyslexia, it could actually help someone that's working in their second language because they can then more easily read that content. It's an international world we're living in now. You know, my boss, for example, sitting in the background there, he speaks Chinese and English. He works with our Chinese team a lot. Every now and then, he probably forgets a word. It's helpful to have these tools available to him, just like it's helpful to have someone who has dyslexia able to more easily read that information. So that's a lot of the creativity. And we just hit through a lot of themes that all sound pretty different. And that's something we want to all internalize together. Creativity has a lot of different meanings to a lot of different people and a lot of different users in your company. So that's the individual, how they get creative, how they create. Let's talk about teamwork for a second. That's really cool, right? When you get to be stronger together, partner with those folks around you. Who here has shared a document with somebody else? And they've sent it back to you and they said, can you add in the changes? Can you fix this? That's not fun. I'm not being paid or heading into the office to deal with fixing your changes. That's not collaborating. That's making me your subordinate. I don't want to do that. I'm going to be honest. What do I like to do instead? I want to co-author with you. I want to send you that document and say, hey, can you give me input on this section here while I'm working on that one over there? Well, you can do that with Word. You can do that with Word across our Windows products, our Mac products, online, on the mobile devices, however you like to work. Whatever devices your company uses and your employees love, you can be using Word together and co-authoring. It's great. But what happens if I need to, for example, assign Michelle with a task? Or you want to ask Jane to help you out with something? In the past, you'd write into a comment that name, and then you'd have to email them. And then you'd say, can you fix this? And then you would hope they fix this. And then you'd go back into the document and look for it. Again, slows you down. It doesn't let you focus on what you really want to do, getting your work done, enabling your business to make that sale, whatever it may be. But now we're getting ready to roll out notifications and @mentions, which is super cool. Michelle's going to show us that a bit later. That's going to let you actually tag that person, ask Jane on your team, can you input and review on this part of the document? And then she can get that notification right on her phone while she's hanging out, maybe at a coffee shop taking a break, and say, oh, I can fix this real quick. Let me unblock you from the process. Let me be of help to you. Well, what happens when you're working with all these people? Sometimes somebody will put in some content that's maybe not part of the goal. Or it's suddenly Thursday and you did a review with your manager or your team and they're like, whoa, I thought you were on track. You had this way better on Tuesday. Well, how do we revert backwards together? We have page history and we have activity feeds that really show off to you the different pieces of the puzzle and how you got to that version you had on our theoretical Thursday. With just a click of a button, you can revert the whole process back to where you were a couple of days ago. And that's been huge. That's really helped me out in different meetings where we've been considering different options, and people flip-flop for reasonable reasons along the way. And this has saved me tons of time instead of trying to figure out what was somebody thinking, what were we doing that earlier week. Now I just move backwards. And then the final portion that I think is really important, and I really appreciate it, saved my butt a couple of times, is autosave. You're working in the cloud. You're working with other people. You need it to be constantly saving. And you don't want to be stuck hitting that Control S all the time. For me, it's actually been a bit of a crutch, that Control S. When I'm thinking, I don't know what to do next, I'm just like, oh, it's kind of progress, right? I'll hit a few more keys. Well, we're auto-saving for you. With autosave, as you keep on working, you can be sure that your document's not going to get lost, won't get corrupted. And with that version history, it can keep on reverting, if you need it to, back to where you were going. So this is how Word with Microsoft 365 is really helping you to move forwards and take advantage of the workplace in all new ways to unlock your potential, to help you find new insights, and really focus on what you want to get done, and not be bogged down by any extraneous buttons and features and being pulled in all different directions. Creativity and teamwork. Those are the keys with Word. Those are some of the big keys with Office and Microsoft 365. So I promised I wouldn't talk for that long to start. I hope that was okay with all of you. We're going to transition now to Michelle, and she's going to walk you through some awesome demos. And then at the end, we'll talk about, if you're hopefully excited about this, how can you get this, and what are the steps to move forwards? All you, Michelle.
All right, so let's swap to the other computer. And all right, cool. So we have a setup here. Okay, we have a setup here where I've got this document I've been working on. It's a camera product planning document. It's partially done, but there's more that needs to be done. So we're just going to go through a bunch of different features to help finish up this document. So here we have a section about Wi-Fi enabled products. And I'm supposed to fill in some information, but I don't know what it is. Usually I would open up the browser, start researching, end up on Facebook, and maybe not get it complete. So now we have some cool new references features called Researcher. And when I open the Researcher pane, I'm able to actually do research right in context without those distractions. So if I just search for Wi-Fi, I'll see a bunch of different topics. I can just dig into basically any of them that seem relevant. I can grab pictures, I can grab text. I'll just grab something from the Wikipedia article. And I can select whatever I want. I can add it and cite it, or I can just add it if I just want to plagiarize. Oh, I should put my thing there and add. And then it's right there, right in the product. So text is great, research is great. Some of the other stuff we want to have in an enticing document are images. Images are great. However, sometimes you end up with one of these pictures where you kind of have something ugly going on in the background. It's taking up a lot of space, not very exciting. So we've improved our remove background feature. So now it quickly and easily removes most of the background. But sometimes there are little bits of the photo that you want to grab or that you want to exclude, like if there were two cameras. In this case, it looks like it's missing just a tiny bit. So I'm going to use my pen over here to circle the right areas. And now it's back in the document. And when I choose to keep the changes, I can now have text that's wrapping nicely and seamlessly with my actual content. Of course, one of the other things about inserting pictures is not everyone can see the photos. So what we have with our picture insert experience is a new automatic alt text. So I'm going to just grab a photo that I have here on my computer. There's nothing special or fancy that I put in, like no properties on it. It's just an ordinary photo. And when I insert it, I did hit insert, there we go. So when I insert it, I'm going to see automatic alt text pop up, in theory, unless I missed it while it was off screen. We'll try one more. So we're going to click insert the photo, here, insert. And so you see here that some automatic alt text was generated. We had machine learning that analyzed the photo, figured out the contents, and when I click on that, I'm able to actually have this task pane open, and I can refine it to add additional detail about the photo if I wanted to be extra descriptive. Of course, images aren't the only way that we make our documents more exciting. Sometimes we add cool iconography. Say you have a table that you're working on with features that are in and out, and you want some check marks or some X's. Like, we now have made it easier to insert that kind of content. In this case, I have a section about project milestones, and it's kind of boring. So I'm going to go over to the Insert tab, and I'm going to look at our new icons gallery. In this gallery, it allows me to easily insert any kind of icon that I'd like. They're easily organized by different types of things that I might want. And here I'm just going to quick, grab a little calendar icon, toss it in my document. If I don't think it matches, I can easily recolor it and make it look however I would like. Of course, that's exciting, but we talked about 3D models, and those are, of course, the most exciting. So I'm going to add a cool 3D model to this document about the development facilities that this camera is being made at. Now, if you have 3D files, you can just insert them from a file. But I know a lot of people don't have a lot of 3D files yet, so I'm going to show our online sources experience. And here you can have cool dinosaurs, which are pretty cool, or any other sort of thing that you'd like to sort of jazz up your thing. I'm going to go with buildings, and we're going to insert a factory right here into our document. It imports it, and now I've got this great 3D model that I can turn and move around. There's definitely different views if I wanted to quickly get a specific angle of the product. And I can also pan and zoom so that we can really focus in on specific areas of this particular item. So this definitely makes for much more exciting and much more interesting documents. And of course, if you end up needing to send this to a client who does not have an updated version of Office, they'll still see it as a standard image, so we'll have that full downstream compatibility. All right, one of the other things that I do a lot when I'm making documents is I insert links to other references, because sometimes, you're sending out an electronic document and people want to be able to get additional information, but you don't want to clog up the document with it. Usually this means I have to open 5 different files, find the right link, and then painstakingly format it correctly. And that's not very fun. But usually it ends up being something that I've recently done. So now if I go over to the Insert tab and I want to insert a link, we have a really convenient MRU of files or clipboard items that I have recently been using. And all I have to do is click, and it's inserted, it's formatted nicely, and I don't have to go digging around for those things. All right. Links are great, but sometimes you do actually want the real content in the document. So here on the Insert tab, we also have a document item experience. This is great because it allows you to, again, easily get the right content from another file without opening 5 different files. So you can do basically a personalized search of things that are on your OneDrive and or SharePoint, and you can filter by specific content types. To make things especially easy, we also include an MRU that allows you to very quickly get to things that you're using frequently. I'm going to pull in this Northwind project report here, and here in the sales growth section, I'm going to just quickly add a chart. And now I didn't have to open up that file, it's just here, and it's the real content. So if I want it to be, say, something more exciting that matches here, I can do that formatting, and now I have a much more exciting document with very little work. All right, let's switch gears to something that's kind of been a key aspect of creativity, the pen. I like the pen a lot. So here on the Draw tab, we have a lot of features, including some exciting new ink pens that are just kind of fun. And so this one's the Celestial pen, and if I type with it, it's got a cool effect. It's just kind of fun. Now, marking up a document is a great way to review things, but sometimes you actually want to change the content underneath when you're working with a pen. For that, we have Ink Editor. When you turn on Ink Editor, your actions with the pen actually become actions to the document content. So now if I were to select the highlighter here, you'd see that I can just highlight something that I think is a key point, and it turns it into a highlight on that specific range of text instead of having ink that's just in front of it. In addition to highlighting, I can also do deletions. So if I grab just one of my ordinary pens, I can just decide to scribble out a paragraph that I think is garbage, and it disappears. So that makes it so easy to just delete things, especially when you're on a tablet and you don't want to be in front of a keyboard. We also have a couple of other fun features that I'm not going to have time to demo. Ink to shape, though, a lot of fun. You draw a circle, it turns into a real circle. You can make wonderful flowcharts using a pen. And ink to math, which allows you to insert actual equations. So if you don't remember how to do like square root over something else and add a pi, you just draw it, turns into a real equation in Word. And of course, ink replay, which is kind of fun. It shows you exactly what happened in the exact order. So if you're looking at something somebody drew and you're trying to understand it, it's just a fun way to look at all of that. All right. So let's talk about editor. We've got some squiggles here. I don't know about you, I make tons of typos. And I also get a lot of just sort of different requests. For this one here, it says game changing, and I don't really know what was the intent. Was it changing, charging, caging? Now we have very convenient, quick definitions right next to the term. So if you're not sure, was it there, or there, or what have you, it's easy to actually see the right usage. If you find a word that you're not familiar with, you can also have it read aloud to you.
Changing, similar to, altering, exchanging, varying.
And so now you can actually hear it and know exactly what word you want to select. So we'll do changing because it's a game-changing product. So here we've also got up here this absolutely essential has a squiggle on it. And this is one of our new editor critiques. So with this, there's a suggestion here, but what if I don't know why we're suggesting this? I can go to the See More pane and I can get very detailed explanations about why we're flagging something and what the best practice is. That makes it easier to correct your writing style over time to match something that is more appealing for your audience. Of course, if you don't like that sort of critique and you say want to have a wordy thing, you can easily just turn off critiques for that type of issue. Moving on, we've also got a bunch of text in this document that is not in English. Now, it used to be, again, I'd go off to the web browser, copy paste it in there, do some translation, but we actually have some new translation capabilities on our review tab. So I can choose to just translate a section of this document, and we now have machine learning backed translations for 11 languages, in addition to standard translations for about 60. And what I can do is I can just grab that selection that I'm not so sure about. It'll automatically detect the language that it was written in, so I don't have to figure out the exact language. And it offers me a translation that's ready and easy to use. So I can just insert that, and now it's converted it into text that matches the rest of the document. It also preserved the formatting for the portion of the document that was bolded, so I don't have to reformat. It maintains that correct context. Now, switching over to collaboration for a little bit, we've got a bunch of collab features that some of them I've actually been demoing the whole time, which you didn't notice because collaboration is so seamless. So up here in the upper left, my autosave toggle is turned on, and I am able to just save seamlessly. I haven't been hitting Control-S the whole time. All of this content is actually uploaded right now. And up here in the title bar, if I'm ever wondering where I'm saving to, you can find the location, and you can quickly grab a sharing link, or you can quickly access your version history to see everything that has been happening to the document. And of course, if somebody deleted something, you can quick open that version and recover the version that you liked. In addition to that, we have a couple of people who are actually in the document already. These are guest contributors, so folks who I had given a sharing link to and did not require permissions. And I can see that the guest contributor behind me is typing in a message to everyone. Of course, the first step to getting contributions is usually to share, and we've actually tried to make sharing much easier than it has been in the past. So with our new share dialog, you can just quickly grab a sharing link and send it to anyone if that's what you would like to do. I know there are a lot of organizations where security is actually very important, and so for that reason, we have a drop-down that lets you customize the level of sharing that you want. So we'll still get a link, but we'll then also require folks to authenticate in. So I can say, only people within my organization who have this link are going to be able to open the document. And once I apply that, I can still get a link and create that link, and I can send that link to anybody, but only the people in my organization are going to be able to use that link. So that makes sharing much easier. In addition to collaborating in the same document at the same time, we do know that oftentimes people like to collaborate sort of asynchronously. So, I might send something to Scott and he might be in the middle of a presentation, and so I need the right way to let him know and then let him get back to things. Typically, we've used comments to do that. So you do a new comment and you say something, but then you have to tell the person to get in the document and actually look at your comment. Now we have these @ mentions. So I can just hit @ and then it's going to pull up a list of people in my organization and I can pick any of them. So we'll pick Ben Walters, we'll ask him to review this. And as soon as I've made that comment, he'll actually get a notification on his device, say his iPhone or iPad, if he has Word on there. And if not, then he'll get an email. And this will let him know that, hey, there's a change in this particular document that's relevant to him. Now, switching over to the learning tools. Scott talked a bit about the learning tools, but the best way to understand them is really to just see them. So on the View tab, if you turn on Learning Tools, you'll see that we have this other view of our document that is a bit sparser and easier to read. One of the things that you can do is adjust the column width. We know that narrower columns are actually easier to read, although wider columns tend to have better retention for memory, but you can adjust to what you think is most comfortable for your needs. So here, it's on narrow. I can make it moderate, and it basically fixes my document to match that. I can also change page color. The standard look is kind of hard on the eyes, especially if you're in a darker environment. So if I can swap it over to sepia, it becomes much easier to view. I can also adjust the text spacing so that it becomes easier to see the spacing between words, and I can add syllables. So if you're new to learning a language, or if you have difficulty reading in that language, it makes it very easy to see exactly what's going on. In addition, we have Read Aloud, which will allow this to actually just read the document straight to you. So I'll put it here, and we'll just
Originally,
read.
we had just planned to do the Phase 1 research, which centered on focus groups for feedback on packaging for previous.
So that's just an example of it. And of course, I can change the reading speed if I really want to very quickly consume a document. And there's also a few different voices of that. So those are some of our learning tools. Now I'm going to actually switch over to something in our web app, because so far everything I've talked about has been in the desktop app, which is great, but we do know that there are some cool things in the web, and there are reasons people want to use a web browser. Specifically, you have a web browser on any device you might end up in front of. One of the things that we found with Word documents is that people want a way to be able to distribute them in a way that's more web-friendly. So here I have this document. It's a standard Word document, kind of boring. It's got some diagrams, but it's not very exciting. It's a product strategy document. So back in File here, I have a new way where I can print, where it'll print it to the web. And so if I pick this, it allows me to basically see my exact document printed in a variety of web page styles. I'm going to go with Celestial because I think it's fun, it's intense, it's got some cool animations. And if I just hit print to web, what happens is we take your Word document and your content and we actually transform it into a web page that's going to look great on any browser and any mobile device. So now I've got this great product strategy. When I scroll, I get cool fade effects. I can basically just have this cool animation. If there's a chart that's kind of hard to see, I can quick make it full screen, and that's our new print to web feature. So I tried to talk about a lot of features kind of quick. One more feature that's really worth talking about is a feature we have called Tell Me. Tell Me is this box right up here in Word. We also have it in PowerPoint and Excel, and you can type anything you want into it. So if maybe you heard about a feature and you're not sure where to find it, or you have somebody in your organization who keeps asking you where features are, you can just type into here the beginning of the term or a term that's similar to it, and it's going to try to find those exact commands. You can launch the command from right here, and you can also get help articles right away. So that's it for the demo. I'm actually going to hand this back over to Scott.
Thank you very much. me just get this microphone back in. So what do we think? Some new stuff, right? Feeling pretty good about it. Some areas you might have known a bit about before, and now some new spaces that are pretty exciting in different ways. So I'm hoping one of your questions now for yourselves are, how do I get this? How do I go back to my company? How do I leave Orlando and take action to find out all about how Word can help us move forwards, just like the rest of the Office suite can? The answer? Pro Plus. So we saw a bunch of hands before. It looked like maybe about a third of you are on Pro Plus already. That's pretty exciting. But we think there's 3 big reasons why you're going to want to move to Pro Plus. And before we even talk about that, let's acknowledge a bit of an elephant in the room. And only with us can 3 years from now be an elephant in the room. By 2020, you're going to have a decision to make. Windows 7 will no longer be in support. Additionally, Office is going to need service-backed experiences to work with vNext. If you don't move towards Pro Plus and towards the cloud by then, you're not going to be able to take full advantage of the products. So you have a choice to make by 2020. Now is when you're hopefully starting to evaluate that decision, and we're hoping you feel like it's a no-brainer. Pro Plus is the answer. So we just took a look at the number 1 bucket, all about exciting end-user innovation, and I want to touch briefly upon 2 and 3 for you. So intelligent security, we talked a little bit about at the start, but I think we can all feel confident in this question here. Do you want your company to be compromised? Do you want one employee's unintentional mistake to risk your business's opportunity in the marketplace? What if they send an email by accident with a little bit of revealing information you didn't expect? With intelligent security, we have experiences like policy tips that you manage built directly into things like Outlook. It can understand if they're accidentally sending out information to someone outside of your network, and it can stop those processes. It can be aware if you're sending maybe credit card information. Sensitive personal information leaving your ecosystem can now be locked down and you're in control. Intelligent security, it's really about making sure that you are ahead of the curve. You get to be put in charge of how you're going to interact with AI and decide for you, is the AI going to work harder for you, or do you want to work harder? When you set up some ideas in advance and some of your controls, then the machine can start to take over in a positive sense. It makes those choices with you, guiding it along the way. And that's how you stay secure. That's how you don't turn into something that went viral in the news for a mistake for your customer and end user. And that's how you and your end users can keep on moving forwards in the modern productivity era. That's pretty important, right? Viruses, let's get rid of them. Corrupted data, not in our house. That's not what we're doing with M365 and Pro Plus. And then finally, let's talk about proactive management. We're really acknowledging and hoping that we're with this together on this journey to say, we hear the pain points from you. It is not the easiest thing in the world in the past to roll out all these different products. It'd be silly for me to pretend I'm up here saying, it's the easiest thing ever. Since the year 2000, you clicked one button, nothing ever broke. That wouldn't be honest. Then I would really just be a salesman saying, but wait, there's more. I don't want to do that, and you don't want to hear that. But with proactive management and Pro Plus, we are bringing together the best experience we've ever had in the past, and we are continuously improving that capability for how you deploy. One of the number 1 things we're always told is app compatibility is an issue. We hear that. You take our solutions and you build them for what you need to do. You add in all different add-ins, agaves in the new world, macros, all of these things to keep on making sure that your business moves forwards. And in the past, you'd be nervous, and I respect that, and that's reasonable. But now with all types of improvements in our app compatibility abilities, that's a hard one to say twice there, right? With our app compatibility, we're building those solutions in a whole new way to help you feel confident in your decision, to help you feel like I only have to test now with a couple people, find my, what I like to call insiders inside of your companies, and just like that, you're going to be able to actually move forwards. And it's not just with Office. Windows as well is going to a similar cadence, so you can make those decisions around the same time. It's kind of crazy to me. It took so many years for us to realize, that makes sense, doesn't it? You're the same company, we're the same company, you're the same IT department on some level, right? Let's bring this all together, and let's make your life easier. This is your vision we're bringing to life now. We are working with people constantly to say, how do you want to deploy? How do we fix this? We also have solutions like Fast Track now, where effectively we create a white glove experience where you can have an engineer from Microsoft partnering with you, figuring out your individual needs each step of the way. It's kind of like a bat signal. You just pick up that phone and you have someone ready to work with you in your business. Some people, they want that hands-on support. Other people, they like figuring it out on their own on the web in some level. So we have all these great resources all inside of Fast Track to make it easier to deploy, or you've got that bat signal. I'm a bat signal type guy, personally. Love Batman. So it's been great doing this. And I gotta say, I'll let you in on a little secret for myself. I have never deployed a tenant before this week, but I decided this is my first conference working with a lot of IT folks. It'd be disingenuous if I didn't figure out how to do this myself. Am I as good as all of you? Absolutely not. But I've now deployed a tenant to 3 whole users, and I was proud of that. I did my troubleshooting. I used different ways of actually activating content, figuring out how to use different reg keys, reactivating the system, and that's pretty cool. And I figured all that out by just going to our online web content because it's getting easier every single day. With that in mind, we've also moved to more click-to-run capabilities. As you move to CTR instead of our MSI world, it's a lot easier when you make that deployment choice to make sure that we're helping you to update consistently and easily. Feedback we get from folks is, hey, I'm not so sure I want you to move my buttons. Don't move my cheese, is sort of the way we like to joke about it. But it's a serious issue, so we respect that. But I have a question for all of you and a challenge. You probably have a mobile phone, right? You probably have seen your Facebook app update maybe twice in the week alone that you're here. You figured out how to use it, right? You figured out how to use that Twitter app afterwards. Is it always the easiest thing in the world? Maybe not. But you're comfortable with it because it's a part of our daily lives. We don't want to be gatekeepers to your innovation, and you don't want to be gatekeepers to your end users, and therefore your customers. You want to feel confident they'll know what to do. So with click-to-run technology, you're able to decide how fast and in what ways you update, but when you do, it'll go straight to your end user. I was talking to a gentleman earlier this week, and he said to me, I feel like the hero for doing things I didn't even know happened. That's pretty cool. That's exciting. And right in the product, we have panels that pop up that tell the end user what's new. You get to find out that feature that just rolled out and how to use it. And this is fun stuff to me. I hope it's fun stuff to you. And so that's why I just want to walk through this one last time and remind ourselves, if any of this sounds like something that's exciting to you, that's going to help your end user, it's going to help your business take the next step forward and really win that sale, drive that innovation, you're going to need Pro Plus. Your end users are going to love it. Your documents, your security, all of that personal information will be taken care of. And it's going to make your lives easier. You can roll it out, it's reliable, and it's going to be as consistent as we can make it across the Office ecosystem with Windows. And all of that happens because we talk to people like you all the time. We don't just throw this over the wall and say, we did it, it's the year 2000, our product's perfect. It's 2017. We build this together with you every day. So we're hoping you make the choice for Pro Plus, and Word's a great reason why. It's not the Word that you've been using since the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. And I can tell you the same thing for Excel, for PowerPoint, for Outlook, and all the cooler things that are out there, like Teams that we've brought around to you now, Microsoft To Do that's coming here, and all types of Cortana integrations. So thank you very much, everyone. We really appreciate your time. We'd love to answer any questions you have today, and if we don't get to it now, a great way to provide feedback and features is word.uservoice.com, or hit me up on Twitter @chapscott. So thanks, everyone. If you got any questions, please come to the mic. Thank you.